Today, I want to share something special with you. This is a story about my first time traveling to a famous city. It was my first visit, and I felt many emotions at the same time. I felt excited, I felt nervous, and I felt very curious. In this video, I will speak slowly and clearly so you can relax and enjoy the story. You don't need to understand every word. Just listen and follow the feeling. This was my first time traveling to New York City. Before the trip, I thought about many things. I thought about the people. I thought about the language. I thought about getting lost. I asked myself, will people understand me? Will my English be good enough? What if I make mistakes? These thoughts stayed in my mind. On the day of travel, I woke up very early. The sky was still dark. My bag was ready. I felt a little tired, but I was also very excited. As I sat quietly, I thought, this is my first time. This is something new. I will try my best. Traveling for the first time to a big city can feel scary. Everything feels unknown. Everything feels new. But at the same time, it feels like an adventure. I reminded myself to stay calm, to take things slowly, to enjoy the moment. This story is not only about travel, it is also about using English in real life. You will hear simple English. You will hear real thoughts. You will hear everyday language. So take a deep breath, relax your body, and listen with an open mind. Let me take you with me to my first time in New York City. After a long flight, the plane finally landed. I looked out of the window and took a deep breath. I had arrived. This was my first time in New York City, and everything already felt different. The airport was big and busy. There were many people walking fast. I could hear many languages around me. I felt a little confused at first. I felt tired from the flight, but I also felt excited. As I walked through the airport, I listened carefully. Most of the announcements were in English. The voices were clear but a little fast. I didn't understand every word, and that was okay. I told myself, stay calm, listen slowly. It's okay to not understand everything. When I reached the passport check, my heart started beating faster. I stood in line and waited. When it was my turn, the officer looked at me and spoke. His English was fast and natural. I answered slowly. I used simple words. I did my best. The conversation was short, and then it was over. I felt proud of myself. Next, I picked up my bag and followed the signs. The signs were in English: arrivals, exit, baggage claim. I read them slowly as I walked. When I stepped outside the airport, I felt the air of the city. It was noisy, it was busy. Cars were everywhere. People were talking, laughing, and moving in all directions. I stood there for a moment and looked around. I thought, I'm really here. This is New York City. Even though I felt tired, I also felt happy. English was all around me, on signs, on screens, in conversations. I realized something important. I didn't need perfect English to be here. I just needed simple English and confidence. That moment made me smile. My journey had truly begun. After leaving the airport, I went to my hotel. The city outside the window moved very fast. Tall buildings, busy streets, so many people. I looked around quietly and listened. English was everywhere. When I arrived at the hotel, I felt a little nervous again. This was my first real conversation in the city. I walked to the front desk and waited. When it was my turn, the receptionist smiled and spoke to me. Her voice was friendly. Her English was clear. She asked simple questions. I answered slowly. I have a reservation. My name is Saim. Yes, this is my first time here. She gave me my room key and explained a few things. I listened carefully. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the important parts. I said, "Thank you," and I smiled. When I entered my room, I finally relaxed. I put my bag down and sat on the bed. I felt tired, but I also felt proud. I looked out the window. The city was right there. This was my first day. Everything felt new. Later, I went outside for a short walk. I didn't want to go far. I just wanted to look around. People walked quickly. Cars honked. The city felt alive. I walked slowly and listened to the sounds of English around me. Short conversations, laughter, phone calls. I thought, this is real-life English. This is how people really speak. Even though it was my first day, I felt something change inside me. I was still learning. I was still nervous. But I was also excited. This was only the beginning. The next morning, I decided to explore the city streets. I woke up early and looked outside my window. The city was already awake. People were walking fast. Cars were moving everywhere. I stepped outside and started walking slowly. I didn't have a big plan. I just wanted to see the city. The buildings were tall, very tall. I looked up and smiled. As I walked, I listened carefully. I could hear English all around me. People talking to friends, people talking on the phone, people asking questions. I didn't understand everything, but I understood the feeling. I walked past shops and cafes. I saw signs in English: open, closed, coffee, breakfast. I read the words quietly in my mind. At one corner I stopped and looked around. There were so many people, so many different faces. I felt small, but also excited. I saw a famous street and took a photo. I felt like a tourist, and that was okay. Sometimes I stopped walking and just watched. I watched how people spoke, how they moved, how they lived. I realized that English here was natural. People spoke quickly, but they spoke simply. I told myself, I don't need to speak fast. I just need to speak clearly. Walking through the streets felt like learning English without studying. No books, no rules, just life. That walk made me feel more comfortable, more confident. The city felt less scary, and English felt a little closer. After walking for a while, I started to feel hungry. All the walking made me tired. I looked around and saw many food places, restaurants, small shops, food trucks. The smells were amazing. I chose a small place to eat. It looked simple and friendly. When I walked inside, I felt a little nervous again. Ordering food in English was new for me. I stood in line and listened to other people order. I paid attention to the words they used. When it was my turn, I spoke slowly. I used simple English. I would like this, please. And a drink. The person smiled and nodded. They understood me. That made me feel happy. But then something funny happened. I wanted to ask a question, but I forgot the word. I stopped for a moment. I felt a little embarrassed. Then I laughed and used simple words. Is this spicy? The person laughed too and answered me. In that moment, I learned something important. You don't need perfect English. You just need to communicate. When I sat down to eat, I felt relaxed. The food was warm and delicious. I looked around and listened to people talking. They were enjoying their food. They were speaking naturally. I thought, English doesn't have to be scary. It can be fun. That small, funny moment gave me confidence. I made a mistake, but everything was okay, and I enjoyed my meal with a smile. Later that day, I had more chances to talk to people. This was the part I felt most nervous about. Talking to strangers in English felt scary at first. My heart beat faster. My mind felt busy, but I told myself, be calm. Speak slowly. It's okay to make mistakes. At one point, I needed help. I wasn't sure where I was going, so I decided to ask for directions. I walked up to a person and smiled. I said, "Excuse me, can you help me?" They stopped and listened. I spoke slowly and clearly. "I'm looking for this place. Is it far from here?" The person answered me in English. They spoke a little fast, but they were kind. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the main idea. I nodded and said, "Thank you so much." That small conversation felt like a big win. I felt proud of myself. Later, in a shop, the cashier spoke to me. "Hi, how are you?" I answered simply. "I'm good, thank you." It was short, it was simple, but it was real English. I noticed something important. People were not judging my English, they were just communicating. If I spoke slowly, they listened. If I smiled, they smiled back. Each small conversation made me feel more confident. Each sentence made English feel easier. I realized that speaking English is not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to try. That day, I talked to a few people. Nothing long, nothing difficult, but every conversation helped me grow. I felt less afraid. I felt more comfortable. And I knew I was learning English in the best way, by using it in real life. As the days passed, I started to notice something. Traveling was helping my English. I didn't open a textbook. I didn't study grammar rules. But I was learning every day. English was everywhere around me, on the streets, in shops, on signs and screens. When I walked, I read signs quietly in my mind. Street names, directions, simple instructions. Exit, entrance, do not enter. I heard announcements in English, in the subway, at stations, in public places. Sometimes they were fast, sometimes they were clear. I didn't understand everything, but I understood enough. When I heard the same words again and again, they started to feel familiar. I also listened to how people spoke. They didn't speak like books. They spoke naturally. Short sentences, simple questions. I realized that real English is not perfect. It is human. Traveling made English feel alive. Not something to study, but something to use. I started thinking in English more often. Small thoughts. I'm late. I need help. This is interesting. Without trying, English became part of my day. I felt more confident, more relaxed. Travel taught me that learning English doesn't need pressure. It needs exposure. It needs experience. And traveling gave me both. Every step I took in the city was also a step forward in my English journey. Now let's slow down and practice together. This time we will use travel English. Simple sentences you can use when you travel. First, just listen. Then, repeat after me. Take your time. I'm visiting this city for the first time. Now repeat. I'm looking for this place. Now repeat. Can you help me, please? Now repeat. Very good. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. Just try to copy the sound. Let's continue. I would like to order food. Now repeat. Is this far from here? Now repeat. Thank you so much. Now repeat. Great. When you repeat like this, your mouth learns English. Your ears learn English. Your confidence grows. You can pause the video if you want. You can repeat again. This practice is powerful because it is real. These are sentences people use every day when they travel. If you practice them slowly, They will come out naturally when you need them. You don't need to rush. Slow practice is good practice. Let the words feel comfortable. Let the sounds stay in your mind. This is how travel English becomes easy. As my trip continued, I started to feel different, not only about the city, but about myself. At the beginning, I felt nervous. I was afraid of making mistakes. I was afraid of speaking English, but little by little, those feelings changed. Each day, I used English. Each day, I listened more. Each day, I spoke a little. I realized something important. Mistakes did not stop me. They helped me. When I made a mistake, people still understood me. They were kind. They were patient. That made me feel calm. I started to trust myself more. I started to feel more confident. I didn't need perfect English to enjoy my trip. I just needed simple English and courage. Traveling helped me see English in a new way. It was not an exam. It was a tool to connect, a tool to ask, a tool to enjoy life. I felt proud of myself, not because my English was perfect, but because I tried. That feeling stayed with me, and I knew that English was no longer something to fear. Now, as this journey comes to an end, I want to share one last thought with you. Traveling for the first time to a new city can feel scary. Using English in real life can feel scary too. But you don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Small steps are enough. Simple words are enough. If you can listen, you are learning. If you can try, you are improving. This trip taught me that English grows when you use it. In real life, in real moments. You don't need a classroom to learn English. You don't need long study hours. You need experiences. You need patience. You need kindness toward yourself. Whether you travel or stay at home, you can learn English naturally. Listen a little every day. Speak when you can. And don't be afraid of mistakes. You are learning. You are moving forward. Thank you for listening to this travel story. I hope it helped you feel calm, confident, and motivated. Take care and keep enjoying your English journey.